Let's see what the numbers look like at the start-finish line this time.
I think it'll be close to 2 seconds.
1:17 flat for Rossi. 1:15.3.
And the gap is exactly 2 seconds with
10 to go.
10 to go. I think Rossi better come up with plan B here.
How about this leader, Jan?
The radio communication to Alexander Rossi a few laps ago was, let's think big picture. They knew how fast that Ryan Hunter-Reay was closing. That doesn't mean that he lets Ryan Hunter-Reay go by any means, but it's reminding Alexander Rossi he's the championship point leader, and if his teammate comes up and has this kind of steam, they want him to remember, think big picture. This will be very interesting.
That almost sounds like a team order.
No, you're a driver, I was a driver. They're trying to give you common sense because we don't have common sense when it comes down to this sometimes. Well, you never did, but anyways.
Talk for yourself.
The cooler heads prevail on the timing stand than under the helmets is what I think you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, he's right there.
All right, he's on him. You think they both know if there is a Chevy behind him in third place?
No. Rossi's only concerned with the one car in his mirror because he can't see anybody else. Another 1.3 seconds shaved off by Hunter-Reay that last lap.
But that's going to stop, though, because he's right on his gearbox. He can't go any faster until he passes him at this point.
You see the push to pass remaining. You'll see it turn green when they get on it. Still a lot of laps to go, 9.
And I think you'll see Rossi, if he gets any closer, to start changing his line and driving a little bit more defensively. But he also knows that that's his teammate.
Defensively, is that the European background he has from his days in Europe and Formula One? You were over there.
You can place your car differently to make somebody's pass a little bit more difficult and more risky.
They are going to catch a few lap cars, not all that far up the road in front of them, these two.
Very tricky corner coming up here.
Only 3/10 of a second gain that last lap. See, there's the lap traffic ahead.
Yeah, now, Ryan Hunter-Reay did go almost a second slower that lap, as you mentioned, Alan, because, Eddie, as you're saying, he's now in the middle.
Rossi with the lockup.
He is right on the limit. They're both right on the limit.
Feeling the pressure.
You do that too many times, and you're going to have square tires, and race cars don't go well with square tires.
Don't forget the tires on Ryan Hunter-Reay's DHL machine are fresher than Rossi's.
I think he's going to go for it at the end of the straightaway.
No push to pass yet.
Nope. Rossi actually gains a little bit on the straightaway.
He does put the power down coming out of 6 going to 7 there.
Rossi is clipping the curbs, which we saw when Rahal did that yesterday. What happened? Now remember, Hunter-Reay is dealing with dirty air right now, and these cars are very sensitive to dirty air, as we've seen many times this year.
Coming to 7 laps to go.
You can hear the throttle application.
Gonna have to get closer.
Just a little bit less
Both
than
hit
it
the
would
push
be.
to pass.
This is where Rossi locked up his brakes again. And he's going down.
Off. Rossi's off in turn 3. Hunter-Reay goes through to the race lead.
Goodness. Oh, God, that must be painful.
Now, Ryan Hunter-Reay hates that for a teammate, but he's sure pretty happy for himself.
And look who's second. Will Power in a Chevy.
Now this is going to mix up the point standings, that's for sure. And that was the message to Alexander Rossi from his pit lane. Think of the big picture.
This happened just because of the pressure that Hunter-Reay was putting on him. He's right in his gearbox. Look at this.
So bumpy. Look at the cars jostle around.
Goes to brake.
There, it's locking up.
Cars don't turn too well when they lock up the front brakes.
And now one of the tires flat on the 27. And a win getting away. Now he's got to try and salvage some kind of a finish.
Oh, he's got to be careful the cars that are coming up behind him. All Hunter-Reay has to do right now is finish the race.
So everybody at home wonders why we have an ABS braking system on our road cars. That's the reason there, so you don't lock up the wheels.
Rossi right now in 6th place as he limps around the racetrack, trying to get to the pit lane here. In another, what, he's got another 5 turns to go before he gets to the pit lane.
Look at the vibration in the steering wheel.
Hunter-Reay has 16 seconds on power, and he only has 6 laps to go.
And this is an opportunity just to replace that tire to try to get Alexander Rossi home, but just the frustration and the letdown for this team. It's hard to put into words when they certainly had radioed to him, let's think big picture. He tried to go for the win, and boy, did it all come unglued in turn number 3.
Yeah, sure enough. So Rossi now returns in 13th position. Here it is from on board the 27.
I think some of the function of this, guys, as you see the tires lock up, is that Ryan Hunter-Reay, probably 7 or 8 laps fresher tires, just could get in the braking zone a little deeper.
This happened just because Hunter-Reay was putting pressure on him. That's what happens. Well, what a drive from both of them.
Do you think the crew's not emotionally into it? Look at that.
And that's with another one of his cars benefiting and taking the lead.
Yes.
Well, 1-2 sounds better than just 1, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Hunter-Reay now, the race leader, coming up to 4 laps to go. There is some lap traffic ahead of him that he will deal with, but as you mentioned, Eddie, he's got a massive lead on Will Power, 16 seconds back to 2nd place. You can't put the exclamation point enough on the laps that he was pounding out earlier in the race when they committed to the 3-stop strategy and got him into open traffic, and he kept setting fast lap, fast lap, fast lap. Then he came off the pit lane again after that 3rd stop and even lowered those fast laps to close down that huge gap and put the pressure on Rossi that resulted in what we saw.
And we never thought when we saw him behind Rossi when he was like 8 seconds behind that he was going to catch him. And yet he just kept going at it, and now he could almost stop for a cup of coffee and still win.
The math didn't work, right? But the fall off on Rossi's car and the laps that Hunter-Reay was able to put in, all of a sudden,
the math looked bad, but we were not accounting for Hunter-Reay's speed. I love races that come down to speed.
The speed, the brilliant drive, and the tenacity that he had, you know, and I think about that even with his career in a sense that, remember, he wandered around with different IndyCar teams for quite some time and couldn't get on a full-time ride, and then ended up getting with Andretti, and everything has gone right for him ever since that point in time.
So Will Power, after Rossi's problems, is going to wind up salvaging a great day in the championship. One of our storylines starting the day. Rossi's going to slide back to 3rd if they finish as they're running now, with Scott Dixon running 4th in the race, slotting in 2nd in points. Leaving here, Joseph Newgarden will be the tough one on the weekend. He's going to fall all the way back to 5th in the championship. Newgarden running in 16th place right now after the tough trip into the tire barrier in qualifying this morning in the rain.
Whenever you want to measure,
just leave it in wheel 7, plenty of a lead, don't need to get mixed up with it.
Whenever you want to measure a driver's performance, always look where they are in comparison to their teammates. Today, Power was way better.
Power running 2nd, Pagano running 10th, and Newgarden running in 15th place. Some other notables: Ed Jones running 3rd, really solid drive for Ed.
In front of, what's that gentleman's name?
Yeah,
Dixon?
One spot in front of Dixon, and about 2 seconds, second and a half in front of him on the racetrack. Graham Rahal, after yesterday's disappointment, what a job by his team overnight to stay until 1 o'clock in the morning to prepare the backup car. And Rahal qualified 9th, and he's running in 5th position now. Much needed good day for him. Tony Kanaan had the spin on the outlap for qualifying this morning. He's going to come back and run inside the top 10. He's running 7th right now. And Charlie Kimball looking to get a top 10 for the very young to IndyCar Carlin team.
A team that he drove for early in his career. Matter of fact, when you go through a lot of the IndyCar drivers, they've probably touched Carlin either sometime in North America or with their teams in Europe at some point in time. A very well-regarded team, and as you just mentioned, Alan, a young team.
2 more.
But certainly they're going to be here for a long time. 2 laps left for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
And once again, this track has proved to be very punishing for anybody that makes a mistake. And rewarding for those that don't.
Hunter-Reay going to have a good day where the championship is concerned as well. Started the weekend 57 points off the lead. Stands to close about 26 of that off with a win today and put himself up to 4th in the championship with a lot of racing yet to be done over these summer months.
You know, throughout the weekend, we've talked about how diverse the drivers need to be. That was like when we did it in the series, short ovals, high-speed ovals, road courses, street courses. And to get to Texas next week on a 1.5 mile high bank, 28 degrees, that's one that I always love. But so diverse these drivers have to be. Flip the switch for next week and onto the oval and the high banks.
It probably is the most competitive racing series in the world right now.
Still got a 13-second lead on Will Power. And coming up to see the white flag and start the final lap.
White flag, still plenty of pace between you and Will. Don't need to do anything with Hinch here.
A year ago, Graham Rahal had as good a weekend as you could have in this unique doubleheader weekend at Belle Isle. He won both races. Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay finished 2nd yesterday and is on track to win today. Next best thing, I guess.
Think of how many times that Ryan Hunter-Reay has been unlucky here in this last year or so. Getting very close, and obviously close to Indy a couple more times too, but getting knocked out one time in the pit lane with his teammate. I mean, always competitive. Maybe not the most lucky guy that there has been, but certainly one of the most competitive.
The one constant with Hunter-Reay is that he does not know how to give up. And he's blindingly fast when you give him a car as he wants it.
Just a few more corners to go. Remember when he won the Indianapolis 500 4 years ago, he said he was just a proud Florida boy. The trip back to Fort Lauderdale tonight is going to be a happy one because he's going to have his first trophy since 2015. Checkered flag, 17th career win. Ryan Hunter-Reay does it in Detroit.
Ryan, awesome, awesome. Unbelievable, those 2 middle stints. Fastest lap by a second. Awesome ride, awesome. Great work in the pits, guys. Good job, guys. Yes! Yes!
What a drive. Just inspiring. You'll see the victory lap, and then we'll get the victory interview coming up from Detroit.
That's right.
17th career win, 8th win on a road and street circuit. Let's quickly go to Rick DeBrew.
Well, Alexander Rossi just got out of his car. Obviously a very difficult, disappointing, and very frustrating day for Alex. Alex, let's talk about those last few laps.
I don't really have an answer for you. Need to talk to these guys. We don't understand, so I don't have anything to say.
All right, once again, very frustrated, as you can imagine, from Alexander Rossi.
Trying to figure out what happened that left him at the checkered flag. A disappointing 12th position. And a look at the Scott Fountain and victory circle here on Belle Isle. Will be a happy sight to see the top step on that for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Tireless worker in support of raising money to support cancer research after losing his mom to cancer. And a tireless worker on the racetrack today and this weekend for sure. 2nd on Saturday and a winner on Sunday.
Doesn't even look like he worked that hard, does he?
first stop for Ryan Hunter-Reay, of course, to give congratulations to the crew, to Michael Andretti, team owner. There's no question this was a team effort today. Boy, sometimes you win a race with strategy, sometimes you do it with pace. Today you did it with both. And your engineer said he thinks this might be your best drive ever. What do you think?
You know, after I took that second set of blacks, primaries, the Firestones, I started getting sync with the car and the balance started coming to me. I was really worried in the beginning. I was really loose. And then as I got into a rhythm, the car was doing everything I needed it to, everything. And when we started that last stint, Rossi was more than a straightaway ahead of us. I couldn't even see him. And I just put my head down and just, the thing was flying. It was such a great car. So happy for this 28 DHL Honda team. I wish my wife and the boys were here with me because they're the best. And this has been a bit of a long time coming. And that was going to be a heck of a fight at the end, but good thing we pressured them into it, and we're here in victory lane. Awesome. This car deserves to be where it is right now, that's for sure. And that was a heck of a car, heck of a strategy. Great in the pit lane, and I drove my rear end off.
And what was the mindset? Because at that point, when you closed in on Alexander, he obviously is a teammate. They were telling him, think big picture. But then you saw the first puff of smoke. Do you think you're going to wait to see, or were you going to press the issue? Yeah,
I was really strong out of turn 2, and he wasn't. So I kept pushing the button. I knew I was going to get a run sooner or later, just had to be patient with it. I was going to try inside, outside. Saw a puff of smoke once, twice, and I knew I had to keep pressuring him there. Once you see that monkey up in the tree, you got to keep shaking it, and he fell out, and he did a great job, though. You know, he's been so strong. I think, you know, this weekend was really tough on the brakes. I locked up a few times there, almost went in just like he did, so he's done a fantastic job this season, and I'm absolutely, this 28 team's there to challenge, and we're going for the championship, and this goes to show we're here to stay.
Well, he's talking about the championship. He now moves up to 4th in the championship, his first win, as we mentioned, since Pocono in 2015, Alan.
Jan, thanks. A day that started in the most bizarre fashion with a crash of the pace car wound up with one of the most inspired drives we've seen in some time. And Ryan Hunter-Reay, the winner today in Detroit. World News or your local news is next on ABC, except on the West Coast later tonight. Game 2 of the NBA Finals starts here at 7:30 Eastern. Thanks to this wonderful crew for a long run covering the IndyCar series. Treasure them all, treasure every moment. We sign off with Ryan Hunter-Reay's inspiring, brilliant performance as winner of Detroit Grand Prix race number 2, Alan Bestwick, for our entire team. Thanks for watching.